Hello everyone, and welcome to the Deepbluerenegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deepbluerenegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 206. Today is Saturday, November 11th, 2017, and I'm glad you could join me today. It's pretty nice out, like mid-60s. The leaves are starting to fall. It might be fall now. Maybe, potentially. I don't feel like I have a lot of knitting progress to show you guys this week, but such is life. I had a appointment that was net 2 hours, so half an hour drive there, hour to be there, half an hour drive back, so not as much knitting time today as I prefer, but whatever, such is life. I got my coffee. Now I don't. God. I don't have my coffee anymore. It's so sad. It's like steaming nicely, but there's not very much coffee left. I'll just finish off now. Like, you can see the steam, right? One of those days, you just gotta roll with it. So, what have I been up to lately? I have been trying to fix my hat emergency for the most part. So this is the sockhead hat by someone, a very popular pattern. And I am knitting this out of Molly Girl yarn in the Cold as Ice colorway. It is the Bossa Nova Sport Base, which is 65% merino, 25% llama, and then the remainder is sea cell. I think that's like 11.5% or something funny like that. Or is like 62.5% merino, something like that. Whatever. Not too crazy. So it's a very soft, lovely yarn to work with. It's nice and speckly, so I'm getting these sort of bands of speckle pooling on it. So there's sort of a tealy band going through and then a blue band going through. As you might be able to, I don't know, you can see the tealy band. The blue band is a little bit more subtle, I guess. So it is coming along nicely so far. I'm knitting it on US ones. I switched to circulars. Once I got to the stockinette portion, it was okay magic looping in the ribbing for some reason, but it stopped being okay. So I think I don't know if I switched over last week or this week. It's a mystery, but I was done magic looping. So I have a set of 12-inch circs that I split a stitch. I have a set of 12-inch circs for two excuse me, knitting socks with 2 circulars. I'm gonna have quite the coffee mess to clean off my wheel. So that was good enough for this. Maybe they're 16. Doesn't seem like they're 16. So that is just perfect for this project. I'm much happier knitting it around. And I managed to get a decent amount done. So my ribbing is complete. I am into the body now, and I managed to get fairly far into the body. I'm guessing I'm going to quantify this. So I did 4 inches of ribbing, 2x2 rib, like the pattern calls for, and I'm probably not going to be doing the full 9 inches of stockinette for reasons. So I'm probably, So unless I can find some sort of situation in which I'm distractedly knitting and don't notice. I'm at 4 inches of stockinette, I have 4 inches of ribbing, so depending on how much more I tolerate, I am 2/3 of the way done. But, I don't know. I might try wrapping it up a little bit sooner, because I'm okay with having a really deep ribbing on this hat, and having it actually cover most of my head, and so I believe it's like, if I'm making a hat to cover my ears, it needs to be like 6 inches before the crown decreases, so I might just do that. Not sure. The pattern calls for maybe a slightly slower decrease rate than I would normally do for hats, so I don't really care too much about it in the grand scheme of things. I think I have if I do like the divisible by 8 or something like that, I'm sure it'll be fine. Or if you want it to be broken into 10 segments and I break it into 8. Whatever. Shouldn't be a big deal. I'm not too worried about it. As you can tell. I think I'm more worried about my lost coffee. I'm gonna have to make more coffee now. It's sad. Or if you're not laughing, you're crying, and it's not worth crying over spilled coffee. So, okie doke. So that's how that's going. So this is the ball. It's getting smaller, but there appears to be plenty of yarn there. I'm not, what would it be? The ridiculous length of the hat and the pattern is so that you can use every last bit of yarn possible, but I think I still want it to be like a useful hat length too, so we'll see how long I tolerate knitting on it. If I find an appropriate distraction, it will probably be okay. The other project is the Aberdeen socks, which is a Yavanna Reynolds pattern, Belle Dame knits, and I am just about ready to start the second repeat of the chart. I stopped short of making the cable because I decided I wanted to work on something different. But it is coming along nicely. You can see the cool pattern come together. And so, not too crazy. What would it be? How many repeats of the chart did I manage to do? So, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I did 4 total repeats of the chart, so I'm not too bad as far as the sock is concerned. What would it be? It's good. What would it be? The best way to describe the sock is to say that this is, the more boring the weight is, the better the sock is for what have you. It's a good thing when I need to keep my mind engaged. But 1 chart done, 3 more to go, and then it shouldn't be too crazy. It hasn't been what I've had the brain space most of the time to work on though, for whatever reason. I did start a new pair of socks last night. Why, you ask? Basically it boils down to when I am inspired to make something for someone, like, it's gonna happen. So when but I was a little too cavalier in sticking it in my bag. So when I am inspired to make something for someone, an occasion came up where I wanted to make something for someone, and I pulled out the yarn and decided what I was going to do and what it was going to look like, verified that it was going to be acceptable, and what was it? I ended up winding the ball by hand and at night, and then decided to pull out my signatures and actually just start working on it. So this will probably get more love in the short term than the sock for me, just because. Because this is for someone who I think is rather deserving of such nonsense, and her favorite color is yellow, so there we go. So what I'm doing is I'm doing my basic 2x1 ribbing sock, but the cuff is Wollmeise Twin in fuchsia. The sock itself is Berry Colorful Yarnings in the Kumquat colorway, so hand-wound ball, keeping it classy. It was almost too big for the Sharpie Nostipin, and so this is a bright yellow and then a light green. And then I don't have oodles of the Wollmeise, but I wanted something that was pretty hardy, because this is going to a non-knitter. So I wanted something pretty hardy for the toes and heels and the cuff, just to tie it all together. And so it's pretty, this fuchsia color is pretty bold, but it is a nice semi-solid fuchsia, so I figured it would work out okay. I need to like contain this ball because I'm done with it for a while. So it would be the case where I was inspired to do this. When I found out the recipient really liked yellow, it was like, oh, I know I definitely have sock yarn that has a decent amount of yellow in it. That'd be perfect for this. So that's what it's going to be. So it's been rather nice to work on. I realized I actually was further on this and ended up ripping a bunch out because I realized that the end I picked was not the full color repeat end. So I knit for a while, realized that it wasn't going to be a 3-row stripe, it was really supposed to be a 6-row stripe, and then backtracked a bit. So I am now knitting some of the green. I did have a little bit of green at the beginning, but it turned out that wasn't a full stripe, and I'm like, I concluded, because they were gift socks, that having them be slightly non-matchy was going to be worse than what wasn't going to be the right thing for the recipient. So it is coming along. I'm knitting these on my signatures because that was what I had handy. I also have 2 circs and zeros, but I don't know. For right now, it'll be okay. I'm doing a 72 stitch sock, and thankfully size 6, so I'll have to look up at some point how long to make the foot, but for the moment it isn't necessary. So I'll probably do 5-inch cuffs because of that, because I'll do 6-inch cuffs for my feet normally, or for my feet, but my feet are a little bit longer than that. So hopefully this will be a good little project. It certainly is more in my zen than would it be. So, or where I am right now, the purely stockinette is pretty boring. The cable and lace sock is too complicated, but this sock right here, just right. Like I just needed like ribbing to have things be about right. So that is the story there. So I hope to expedite this. I would rather get the hat done first because what would it be? It has been cold in the mornings and I've really wanted to have a good proper hat. So hopefully I can, it's probably going to be the stockinette hat becomes the knitting in the dark project, because a movie will be going on and that's distracting enough to get over the stockinette in the round, as you do. But my carry around project will probably be the sock, the stripy sock. Because I would like to have forward progress on that one. So, yeah, makes sense. I think it does. So, I feel a little bit silly having 2 socks on the needles, but I was inspired, so take that. We'll see at what point I decide to do something else or do something more complicated. Oh. So the other nonsense, or what is it? We'll do spinning and then we'll do stash positions. How about that? So, I'm really happy with how the yellow, green, and fuchsia are coming together though. So, spinning first. I did do a little bit of spinning. Because sometimes, like, I think because I have been having a little bit of awkwardness where my one project is too boring and my other project is too interesting, that spinning was about right. So, I'm still working on the Greenwood Fiberworks yak silk. I think I have probably gone through, I don't know, I can never tell how much I've really done on this. So I'm almost done with the green section and I'm very quickly moving on to a blue. I don't think I pulled it out last night, but I definitely did pull it out Wednesday. The Dear Sweet Lovable one went on a business trip, and so that meant that there was no one to come home to, so I might as well go to what is it? The local yarn shop has knit night on Wednesdays, and it is generally entertaining to go and see what's what and that sort of thing. So, and the owner of the shop is really sweet. I do like her, and I actually, what was it? Or sorry, that's Stash Positions, but I did actually buy yarn from her for the first time. I've bought notions there before, but never yarn. So, Greenwood Fiberworks, not too crazy. It probably needs to carry around with me because it isn't like I'm working on it at home very much, but slowly but surely. The other project, so I did wash and actually ultimately put away my skein of the Nest Rufino. So that's in its plastic baggie and will be waiting its turn to become socks. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do socks with it at this point. The other thing was that I started another one of my bin spins. So I have 2 left. This, the fiber that I swear is teal and purple. I swear it's teal and purple, but definitely a grayed out teal and purple, but yeah. Total shapeshifter as far as color is concerned. But the spin I started was my Emerald Pool. So this is a BFL, this is the September 2016 colorway, and I am doing a 4-ply, but really I think I actually just committed to doing another cable ply. So I took my braid of fiber and I folded it in half twice, and then I pulled out whatever, broke it into those quarters, whatever the long ways as opposed to splitting it. And then I put together, I've already spun the one continuous chunk, and then I broke one of the ounces into quarters, And then in here, I broke another of the ounces. You see? Into eighths. There we go. Hey! And then this big guy is a half. So I'm spinning the halves right now. So this did result in a lot of color variety for the first chunk, for better or for worse, I don't know, whatever. So there's a pretty long run of brown in there, and then there's some blue on either end. Excuse me. That's what I get for not having liquid with me. And now I am doing the first of the halves. So there's grays, there's teals, there's and then a couple of different shades of brown. So there's a darker brown and then a more yellowy brown in there. And then it ends with blue. So so I have a little bit into the second quarter of the spin. And shouldn't be too crazy. It was coming up pretty fine, which I'm sort of hoping for to make cable fingering yarn. And it was the case where I wasn't sure if I was going to do traditional 4-ply or do the cable, and then I decided to just keep spinning. So I'm doing a cable now. So then what I'll end up doing is when I'm done spinning all the singles, I'll wind it a ball and ply at their end, and then when I'm done spinning those, I will wind it into a ball again and ply from either end the opposite way, and that will put together the cable yarn with all of the crazy colors in it. So shouldn't be too crazy. It's BFL. It's spinning up really nice. It wants to be thin, but still has like a good feel and texture to it. So that's. I felt like I may have overspun the Torfino a little bit, but this seems to be coming out about right. And then I'll play with the ratios on my wheel to get the right amount of plying twist that I want. I might actually go to the ludicrous ratio for plying just so that I have lots and lots of twists that I'll then take out as I ply it back again. I think that's going to be what's right. So it was fun breaking it into lots of little balls and winding them all up and figuring out what end I was coming from and that sort of thing. So when I finish that spin, then all I have is the 2 ounces of this to go. And what I've been slowly working on is basically just making these balls of top, and then I'm saving all of the leftovers, all of the extra stuff. And for some reason, now that I'm going through the let it be. So that's so strange. Does it in any way? Oh, that's so weird. So this is lavender. I don't even understand. It's so weird. Like, it totally doesn't look like that on the camera at all, does it? It's so weird. But, so it is the case where I have been slowly but surely making balls. See, this one is probably more green than other ones, but not too crazy. So I'll probably, what's going to end up happening is I'm going to make all these balls. I'm going to get through all the fiber, hopefully. If it starts getting close, then I'll just try mixing as best I can. So I was trying to keep everything nice and mixed up anyways, but so I have all these balls, and then I'll blend them again on my combs to sort of mix up the different color shades that I have going on. So to basically spread out the parts of the spin that were with the first batch of fiber and the parts with the second batch that was more saturated, so everything's sort of even. I don't want to have whatever the first part be dull and the second part not be. And then the goal with that being to put together whatever ball of singles for the end. So, well, like, I'm slowly but surely making progress on it. I'm doing at least a ball a week, but I don't know. I'm not sure how much those individual balls weigh. At some point, if you put too much on the combs, then it's really hard. It takes a lot more passes to get it good. So I went to the local yarn shop on Wednesday, and I ended up picking up a ball of yarn for my niece's dog toy. So the carnivorous Claire Bear is really in love with dogs, and I decided that this Rowan, it's 100% superwash, it's a worsted, and it's in the almond colorway, so color 103, and I thought that it would be the nice neutral to go with the more brindly yarn I got for it, and so I'll be holding the Miss Babs doubled, and then this singled, and then, because the dog pattern I liked the most was a two-tone dog, and we'll go from there. So hopefully that won't be too crazy. I'll have to add this to my stash, but what would it be? I guess it's not. This is just wool instead of merino, but it has a really nice hand, so it might be mostly merino or something. Whatever. So I figured that this was the appropriate neutral. Had I been thinking, I would have brought the other one with me, but it was the case where I had my picture of my yarn on my phone. I was just like holding it up to skeins until I found something that looked about right. And then I found something that I thought would be really good, but it turned out it wasn't superwash. I'm like, no. This toy needs to be machine washable. So that was the first stash position. The second one was I decided to take part in the completely twisted and arbitrary spin along for the October through December quarter. And I just got the fiber this week. So in fact, I got it last night. So, the inspiration photos were Renaissance. And this one was based on Madame de Pompadour. And I ended up getting the Targhee Bamboo Silk. So, there is a couple of different shades of teal, some yellows and browns, and then that sort of red color as well. So, see, that's coming up through the color. That's so. And then because it is bamboo and silk, it takes the dye a little bit differently than the Targhee does. So that should be an interesting spin. I'm sort of tempted to spin it thick, just because what would it be? I feel like I'm on team hopelessly overcommitted right now. I took, what is it, my bag of fiber for the combo, the 5-braid combo spin, and actually just put it upstairs because I was like, I don't need this down here when it is definitely not even close to being on deck. So it'd be the case for Woodby. I think there was probably all sorts of fun things that I could do with that colorway. I really liked would it be sort of that primary aspect of it, which is why I decided to go with that one. And what is it? I do love Jen's fiber, so it shouldn't be too crazy, but I do have to laugh a little bit. I'm like, too much nest. Buy some more. what would it be? The fact this is her first time doing one of the spin-alongs for Completely Twisted and Arbitrary, so I felt like I should support her because she is one of my favorites. As you can see by all of the nest. Oh well. So that was nice. What would it be? A little bit, or what would it be? I think the only thing that I have about it is it took a long time. It took longer than normal to get the fiber. Normally it's a pretty quick turn for the spin along, and this time it seemed to take a little bit longer. What would it be? Oh, such is life. So with respect to the toy, I don't know. Maybe it would be nice to get it done before December when I'll actually be there and not have to pay shipping because I will have driven there. We shall see. I'm pretty chill about it. Oh, I don't even know. There's gonna be all sorts of excitement coming, so what would it be? It's just interesting to see where the chips fall. I should be able to record next week. And the week after even. So what would it be? I'll probably be recording later. Or I won't be recording on Saturday, the week of Thanksgiving, but I will be able to record on Sunday because I will be home. So, so don't anticipate any podcast fallouts until at least December. So that's positive. I'm glad I got to finally record outside because it is pretty lovely. Would it be sweater weather? I can wear my DK sweaters now. And I guess I should go make some more coffee. It's a little late now for coffee, but I'm sad. So with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talk guys next week. So take care guys. Bye bye.